A lot of you had very similar questions about the way I do things when it comes to shipping, sourcing, listing, inventory. I'm not saying this is the right way. This is just the way I do things. The first thing we have to do is we have to find something to sell. Now you can find inventory a ton of different places, but I've always had the best luck with Craigslist. Now the main thing that I look up every time I go on Craigslist is lot. That's right. L-O-T. This is how I found the doorknob. This is how I found the instrument. The thing is, it's not always going to be on the first page. You might have to dig back. So go back 5 or 6 pages and look at every single listing. The other thing is, don't get too caught up on the asking price. The doorknob seller originally wanted $1,000. My other huge key to find inventory is first, find your house on the Craigslist map. Then set the radius to about a 10-minute commute time. If you live in Manhattan, set it to a mile. If you live in Wyoming, set it to 30 miles. Look at every single listing, everything that's for sale. So you're gonna cast a wide net in a small pond, because a lot of the time you don't actually know the keywords that listing is listed under, and neither do a lot of other people. So you might find something that nobody else has really looked at. Now, 2 quick things. Number 1, don't go to anybody's houses. You don't need anybody getting victimized, and that's obviously a very easy way. There's public meetup locations at like police stations and things like that, so look up one around you. But the other thing, when you meet these people, be very, very honest from the start and tell them, I'm looking to resell this. I know it sounds crazy. Yes, there might be a few people who are like, I don't want to deal with a reseller. I've never encountered that yet. But if I do, God bless them. Who cares? And it actually will allow you to make more money, especially when you buy things in lots and you have to tell them like, look, I got to go through all this stuff, test it, clean it. It's just not worth it for me to buy it for X number of dollars. People understand that. Oh, and another thing, always make sure you get a receipt. It could just be crayon on a napkin. As long as it's dated and signed, it should be fine. Well, I've actually started carrying around my own receipt books. These were literally like $3. And now I don't have to worry about anybody, fumbling around looking for a pen and a pad. I have it. All they have to do is just sign it. But more on that later. So another thing that I think is important, I never really heard any other reselling channels really talk about. We tend to think of like selling on eBay as sort of a static thing. What I've come to find out is different categories attract different customers and come with different sets of problems. Clothing is a big headache. Most people are very self-conscious of their personal image. And if you sell them something that isn't flattering, oftentimes that anger gets transferred over to you, even though you're just sold an article of clothing. Categories you often see me selling, like construction goods. It's my favorite category because I know a lot of this stuff, so it's easy for me to talk about it with customers and also prevent myself from being scammed or ripped off. So I would say that's another big thing, is stick to something that you know about. At this point, obviously, I'm trying out a bunch of different things for video purposes so that we can all see together how things go. Versus like video games. I even have a video game system. I don't play video games. It would be very difficult for me to talk to people about that. So the other thing about selling in different categories that you guys might have noticed from my videos is the customer base is active at different times of day. So sticking to one category can really be beneficial to you depending on your schedule. So those contractors are up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and I got to be up to deal with them sometimes. Musicians are typically buying stuff at like 1 o'clock in the morning. You got to think about the category that you're selling and when that customer is going to be most active. All right, once we found our items, now we actually have to list them. There's a couple different ways you can do this. I know a lot of full-time resellers recommend using eBay Online. I like the phone app. It's way easier. I can move around with it. I'm not stuck sitting down in a chair. And obviously you can take pictures right from the thing. There's no extra steps. Now there are some downsides, like you can't schedule upload and you can't describe the item condition. This is the backdrop I've used. I put down a bigger piece because this one got a little bit dirty. It's just a piece of poster board. Fold it up. For a light, I have this work light with a piece of parchment paper over it, and holding it up in the back, we have 2 wine bottles and an old Tostitos can. Also, somebody had commented that I need to try a black background. So I did that, and it actually does work super well for like, especially anything silver or anything like that. So thank you for whoever gave me that tip. eBay has a built-in background remover tool, especially if it's like something dark on a white background. It works super well for that, but it'll take it out and make it like bright white. So even on the poster board that I use, it does make it look a lot better. I'm trying to get it on at least the main photo. So like if you're scrolling through, if it looks like a lot brighter, like you're more apt to click on it. Once you have your item, just put it on your scale. See what the item weight is. This is just under 8 ounces. Get the dimensions of it. This is roughly 6 by 6 by 2. And I add an inch on each side. This will be 8 by 8 by 4. 2 things I take into consideration is how I'm going to be shipping it. So something like this, it's already in a box. All I'm going to do is just put bubble wrap around it, then stick the whole thing in a poly bag. But if you know it needs to go in a box, a good thing to know is the box sizes that you have on hand. Take a box like this, 11 by 7 by 5.5. Assuming that's the box I'm going to ship it in. Those are the dimensions I'll
I'll put in. With the weight, you also want to add some. So something like this, no, I'm going to put it in a poly bag. I'd probably put in 13 ounces. And I like to go a little bit heavy, but if you're new, just stick the box on top. This is 13 ounces plus packing paper and bubble wrap. Maybe you're at a pound. Super easy stuff.
Once you have all the dimensions and weight put in, then you have to select the shipping service. You can pretty much use any of them you want except for media mail. Only for books and educational material. Ground Advantage is mostly what I use. You could also use Priority Mail. You can use UPS, FedEx. It doesn't matter. I tend to choose Ground Advantage. One, because it's cheap. Two, because the post office is everywhere. When things start to get really big and bulky, then UPS becomes cheaper, and I usually use that. Then you select buyer pays calculated shipping, and you're good to go. Now, I start off all of my listings on eBay. eBay's the gold standard. It's where everything can get sold. But I do cross-post my listings to different marketplaces to get different exposure. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this, and I'm going to show you a few. So you're going to open up eBay, copy the title, then open up Mercari, press list, paste the title, go back to eBay, copy the description, go back to Mercari, paste the description. And remember, we just removed the backgrounds of those images. It doesn't actually save to our camera roll. So what we're going to do is screenshot the images from our eBay listing. We'll load them into the Mercari app, and we'll have to edit it to fit Mercari's photo requirements, so 1-to-1. Then we'll have to go through and fill out all the shipping information. We can go back to the eBay app and check out what our dimensions were, as well as the brand, the condition, all that sort of stuff. And that's pretty much how I cross-listed everything up until now. But I've actually found a better way. Flip. So once I have my product listed on eBay, all I do now is open up Flip, go to bulk import from eBay, and I can select all of the listings I put up that day, that week. It really only takes about 15 seconds for them to bring it in. It'll bring in the photos with the background ready to remove, or you can remove the background within Flip. All of the necessary listing information, shipping dimension, brand, the title, the description, and once it's there, I can just simply choose the other marketplaces. So for majority of my listings, I'm cross-posting to Mercari. I'm able to do that, and it takes like 7 seconds. It is so much easier than copy and pasting like I have been doing. I can't believe that I did that for so long, especially with the screenshot in the background. That was just ridiculous. And if you sign up with the link down below, you'll get 100 days completely for free. You don't even have to enter your credit card. Well, why would they do that? Because they're so confident that you'll get used to the ease of use. When the trial's over, you'll gladly pay $9 a month not to go back. I know sure as hell I will.
Now, the other thing is, I feel like this should go without saying, this whole channel is all about not making excuses and working with what you have. The video you're watching right now is recorded on an iPhone 12. Don't have a shipping scale? Use a food scale. Don't have a food scale? Use a bathroom scale. Find a way. Figure it out. You're going to make mistakes along the way regardless if you have the best equipment or not. You work with what you have. Figure it out. Stop focusing on what you can't do and start focusing on what you can do. Dude, there's a million things anybody can't do. Elon Musk can't play in the NFL.
Sorry I had to interject that, but one of the goals that I had with this whole thing is to inspire people. We're using nothing. There's a lot of stuff that I can't do. I'm not thinking about that. It just is like disgusts me that people are like, well, he did it that way and I don't have those exact same things, so I can't make it happen. And it's just the most sellout ass way to do, like, go through your life. It's like, just because you don't have that exact same blueprint, you can't make something happen. And somebody says they live in the middle of nowhere, so they can't resell. Dude, people buy pine cones for craft projects. People buy rocks for craft projects. It's just an easy cop-out. Don't say you want to. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But if you do, stop making fucking excuses. Like people saying, oh, I want to get in shape, but I don't have a gym nearby. Do some push-ups. Now that we bought our products, listed them, we have to have a good system to be able to put them away and then find them when they actually sell. And this is how I do it. So I've been doing a lot more clothes. Stick all the shirts on hangers and I stick them on this shelf. I know that everything over here is listed for sale. It is pretty easy to find what I'm looking for most of the time. The other big benefit is when I used to go to a dry cleaner, like they always give you new hangers. So I have tons of wire hangers. But all the shorts that I listed, I put them in a poly bag. I didn't seal it. And the reason I didn't seal it is in case anybody bothers me about a measurement or something, I can still get to it. I just put a piece of tape over it. So I started off with 20,000. This box goes up to 20,008. Like I have glass that I have a numerical system for. I have coins that I have a numerical system for. The glass starts at 3,000. The coins start at 1,000. But I think it is good to do it like that. So I know anything starts with a 3 is going to be in my glass department. I really like that system for the glass because all those things look so similar. So I'm glad I did that. And then for the coins, I have duplicate. Making sure the person got exactly the coin that was in the photo was very, very important to me. The one question I get asked a lot is, do I have a label printer or how do I do my shipping? So here it is. I bought this on Black Friday. I think I paid like $60 for it. I used to use QR codes. It would just be too much of a pain. And I'm so glad I did because I use this thing all the time. So people often say that you can get boxes for free from USPS, which is true, but they're only for priority mail. 99.9% of everything I sell goes Ground Advantage. And in that case, you have to pay for it. Majority of my boxes come from Dollar General for free. The reason I go there is because they do get some big boxes in their dumpster. They also have a ton of really tiny boxes. 90% of the time with the free boxes, I'm customizing it. If you can disassemble a box, you can make a box. Look at how it was made. It's super easy. You know how to use a tape measure and a straight edge, you're good. The other places I get boxes from majority of the time is Walmart. So these are 6x6x6 boxes. I use them for a ton of different stuff. These are 63 cents. I haven't found a better price online, especially when you take into consideration shipping. It gets super expensive. And also you have to buy like 100 at a time to get similar pricing. So I don't have the space for that. As you can see, I have tons of Walmart boxes. But with that being said, there's a lot of stuff I do buy in bulk, and I'm going to show you that right now. On eBay, you can get really good deals. Like this is 250 6x9 padded envelopes. All you have to do is look at the best price with free shipping. This was, I think, $32. I buy certain things like this is because I use a ton of them. And I was going to Walmart and buying 10 packs multiple times a week. The other thing I stock are poly bags. I think I paid $20 for 100 of them. I bought this 700 feet of bubble wrap, $30 with free shipping. The other thing is tape. Now I bought this whole box and there's 30 something rolls. I think I paid right under $40 with free shipping. So certain things I think it's good to stock up on, both for price, but also just to have it on hand so you're always ready to go. And the other thing is I get from Walmart is packing paper. Now I do sometimes get free newspaper, but in certain situations it makes sense. So like this is all clean and brand new. Nicer things. Anytime you think somebody's gonna complain. So the other thing that's really cool, especially with the poly bags and bubble mailers, you can get all different colors. But the issue is that they're a little bit more expensive. Sometimes they're even like double the price. Another thing doesn't necessarily help you make more money. Like if I had colored envelopes, it just is like a cool thing to have. All right, so this is the scale I use. I've had it forever. I think I bought it for scrap metal when I was like 18. It has its moments. It's on the fritz. So what I do is I have this 25-pound dumbbell. I stick that on there. You know, dumbbells are not perfect, but this is probably between like 24 and 26 pounds. And sometimes I just reset it, but sometimes it just flips the fuck out. So I really need to get a new scale, but again, it doesn't make me any more money, so it's hard for me to invest in it. And now after I reset it, 24.20, that's usually about what it reads. I don't know, that's close enough. And then I always round up a little bit anyway. I just sold a cassette deck and I don't have a good perfect size box. Now the issue is that I could put it into a bigger box, no problem whatsoever, but an inch can be like $10. Better off to customize it. And I'm gonna show you what I do to get to that point. To start off by just cutting off these tabs, we don't need them. So the next thing I'm gonna do is just get a rough measurement of the height of this. So it looks like it's about 5.5 inches roughly. So I'm gonna go like 7 inches altogether is the height of my box that I wanna be, so I can put protection on the top, protection on the bottom, and have room and it's not too tight. This doesn't have to be super precise. Let's take my straight edge. In this case I have a level, but you can use anything. As long as it's straight, and just draw those lines across. You don't have to be this precise, but I like to make a nice box when I do it. And you keep it even, everything else is gonna come out way nicer at the end. What I'm gonna do is cut at that line all the way up around the whole entire thing. And then I'm gonna take out even a little bit more so you have like an eighth, okay? Now that we're at this point, I take my straight edge and I'm gonna fold it back onto the straight edge while keeping this super tight, so like that. Okay, very good. All right, so as you can see, I have it kind of centered in there with packing tape on the bottom to give it some protection. Now, just gotta stuff it up to the top. I watch a lot of pawnbroker pickers, which is probably my favorite reselling YouTube channel, and they always use a ton of tape. And that's kind of what got me doing it, but. There you go, look at perfect box. I mean, this is a little bit ugly, but who cares? It looks good. And it's gonna work really well too, so. Now, earlier in the video, I talked about saving your receipts, and I'm gonna talk about why that's important now and what I do. You have to pay taxes on this stuff. I know people oftentimes comment underneath my videos like, wait till the tax man gets to you. I'm on the internet. I'm putting out every dollar that I make. Of course I'm gonna pay taxes on it. You have to be an idiot not to. And even if you're not doing that, this stuff will catch up with you. The IRS knows about this stuff. If you make over a certain limit, which I think is going to $600 this year, eBay will report it to the IRS. So yeah, you're gonna have to pay taxes on it. It just is what it is. Who cares? Part of the game. I've been 1099 most of my life, meaning that you're not an employee. You're an independent contractor. You don't actually ever get a salary. It's very similar to this. So things to keep track of. eBay will let you know how much you spend on fees and shipping. So make sure you keep good records of that. You can use a spreadsheet, which is what I've used pretty much up to date. But now I've actually migrated over to QuickBooks. QuickBooks, and more on that in a minute. When I get a receipt, doesn't matter if it's for inventory, shipping supplies, anything that is necessary for my business purposes, all I do is come home and stick it in this envelope right here. And then when I have some extra time, I will take them, look at the receipt itself, and pull the necessary information into either a spreadsheet or what I'm using now is QuickBooks. If you don't have a background in bookkeeping or really know anything about it, it might be tougher. It was a little bit difficult for me to set up at first, even though I understand this stuff. One of the biggest benefits is that you're able to snap a picture of the receipt, then you can categorize it and it'll pull all the information for you, the date, how much you spend, all that kind of stuff. So it makes that part of it a lot easier. Once they've been gone through, I put them into different envelopes. So this is materials and supplies, cost of goods sold for my inventory. That's for actually like buying stuff, tools and equipment. So things like cables, or if I bought a scale or something like that. And this is shipping supplies. By the way, this is not financial advice. I don't know what I'm talking about. You need to talk to your accountant about this. Break down your receipts into different categories. Add things like the total, the date, where it was at, but also keep the paper copy. And then when the year end comes around and eBay says, hey, you made this much money, you're able to deduct those expenses from your net income. All I do is just keep really good records of that information and then send it over to my accountant to figure out the actual deductions, because not everything is 100% deduction and not everything's 100% deduction year one. The other thing is keep track of your mileage. Now, QuickBooks allows you to keep track of your mileage. All you have to do is when you are going on a business trip, press start and stop trip, and it'll keep track of how many miles you drove. I believe, don't quote me on this, currently it's 67 cents per mile, so it really adds up, but you only just need to keep track of it. That's for accountants to worry about. We're not doing our own taxes with stuff like this. We're just doing our own bookkeeping. So if you don't have that, you do have to keep a mileage book. So write down where you're going, the start of your odometer, and the end of your odometer. And you need to keep really good records of that in case you ever do get audited. Now, me, being that I'm public on here, I might get audited at some point. So that's another big reason why I'm using QuickBooks, because I know my records are super precise. I keep really good track of everything. I'm not writing off any expenses that aren't 100% legitimate. And I'm also using a tax preparer to help me out with those things. My whole purpose in making this video was just to clarify. I know a lot of people ask me questions, and I don't make educational content. I don't plan on making educational content. I make adventure stories that are around reselling, and if you guys learn something along the way, that's great. It was difficult because number one, it's a different format, and also I tried to keep it entertaining. There are tons and tons of resale channels that I personally watch where I learned a lot of stuff that I would recommend that do educational content super well. Chin King, Justin resells, Caleb sells, who's a good dude, check out his channel. Pawnbroker Pickers, like I said. J-Ride Flips, I learned a ton of stuff from him, like parting out different small appliances. There's just too many to name. I watched Daily Refinement, watched a ton of him. My goal with this particular video was more to shed light on things that I do that I think is unique, that I really haven't seen from anybody else, and I just kind of either learned from different people or picked up along the way on my own. I'm kind of take a different approach where it's more just entertainment, more like the story of it rather than this is how you do this. There's plenty of that out there, and there's people that are way more qualified than me to talk about it, so that's not what I'm trying to do. So this will probably be the only piece of educational content I really put out, although I did try to make it entertaining. So I really am appreciative to Flip for making this possible. This took just as much, if not more time than my normal videos to put together. So a huge shout out to them for supporting this kind of content. And also I wanted to make it free. That's the other thing too. Now nobody can say like, oh, you should make a course. This is all my information. This is all I ever have. Now also from now on, anybody that comments, how do you do X, Y, or Z? Dude, this is how I do it. Check out the video. I got a ton of those comments and I was replying to them all the time. So just takes a bunch of time. Either way, I hope you guys like this. No, it's not really as fun as our normal videos, but we'll be back to that soon. It needed to be out there. Even if you only learn like one thing from it that's unique, or maybe I was able to better clarify the way I do things, that's a win in my book.